After each raid, the nightly dream returns. Friends, who could tell me what it is to die? Death, the great neutral, choosing friend or foe.
The police have not yet confirmed the dead man's identity, but it's believed to be Gerard Etienne, managing director of the Peveril Press.
Every death benefits someone.
Who will benefit from this one?
Me.
You do that for me?
No, don't flatter yourself. It's a commercial proposition. I know what I'm buying.
What did he die of then if it wasn't an accident?
Gas. Carbon monoxide poisoning.
I wasn't the only one. Esme Carling, for instance. Not one of our easiest authors. She could be very nasty.
The man who published my books has been murdered. And I think the police think that I did it.
If I had some kind of faith, I'd go down on my knees and thank God he's dead. But I didn't kill him, Gabriel.
I can't believe Gabriel came back here and killed Gerard. He couldn't have done it. He wouldn't have done it.
Who fought in the war? In the resistance?
The answer lies in the present, not in the past, Commander.
There could be something in the archives he didn't want disturbed.
How would that be relevant to Etienne's death?
I don't know. But I think we should take a look.
I was wondering when you'd phone. Tomorrow evening? About 6? I'll be there.
Thank you for coming.
You must come.
Mandy, what's happened?
Something awful. Come on, please. Come on. Please. Come on. Come on.
What is it?
Oh, my God.
It's all right, my darling. It's all right.
Of course it's not all right. It's a woman. Carling. Esme.
To the partners of Peveril Press, God rot you all.
Francis? Right.
Back to the archives, is it?
Yeah.
See you later.
We ought to call the police.
We can't leave her like this. It's obscene. We must pull her out. Please pull her out.
Mandy, undo the buckles. Who is it? Esme Carling. Shh. You shouldn't have taken her out of the water. You shouldn't have touched her.
Dalglish? Yes? I see. Right, 10 minutes.
Thanks. I needed that.
What's happening, Gabriel?
Adam Dalglish has just arrived.
To the partners at Peveril Press, God rod true all. Don't you know that when a writer is no longer published, you may as well be dead? But at least they can make your name stink.
It's a bit at the end that's interesting.
Believe me, I shall. This is only the beginning. Yeah?
Odd thing to put in a suicide note. This is only the beginning.
Who says it's suicide? Zingy?
Must have been pinned up somewhere.
What's in the bag?
What is it?
Mrs. Carling's manuscript, the one that was rejected.
We're all to blame, aren't we?
Look, do we have to do this now?
I'm afraid we do. This won't take long. Had Mrs. Carling been in touch with any of you after she heard you weren't going to publish a book?
Well, she came to the office the day Gerard died, but you know that.
And who was it who decided to pull the body out of the river?
I did.
You surely didn't think she was still alive.
No, it was just so terrible seeing her hanging at the end of that strap. So inhuman.
Well, not all policemen, Inspector. Some of us still have human instincts.
And some of us try to retain them, despite the things we have to encounter during the course of our work. Have you been out on business this evening, Mr. Dauncey?
Oh, no, I went for a drink. Dog and duck. It's such a pleasant evening.
Find out if anybody saw anything going on here this evening.
I'll check out the river traffic.
Daniel, what about Mrs. Carling's alibi for Gerard Etienne's murder?
At first the kid didn't want to talk, but once I reassured her, she opened up. I'm pretty sure she told me the truth. Why, sir? You think I was too easily satisfied?
It was a traumatic day for Mrs. Carling. She heard her new book wasn't going to be published and the book signing had been cancelled. Did she strike you as the sort of woman who would spend a quiet evening at home after that? Or would she try to have it out with Etienne?
Maybe we should talk to Daisy again.
Daniel, have a good look round Mrs. Carling's flat while we talk to the girl, will you?
Okay, sir.
How old is she?
11, sir.
You think Auntie Esme was murdered, don't you?
We think it's possible, but we can't be sure.
I told that other policeman everything I know. You're trying to pin that man's murder on Auntie Esme, aren't you? She said you would. She said you would try and fit her up.
I don't think she had anything to do with Mr. Etienne's death. I'm not trying to pin a murder on anyone. All I want to know is the truth.
How do I know I can trust you?
You don't. You just have to think about it and make up your mind. But whatever you do decide, don't lie to me. I'd rather you said nothing at all than lied. Do you understand?
She asked me to lie. Auntie Esme, before she died.
What about?
About that night when he was murdered. She asked me to say I was in her flat.
But you weren't?
Daisy!
When did she ask you this?
The next day, she met me out of school. She was scared. She said she'd be suspected because she hated that man so much.
You knew she had murdered Mr. Etienne, didn't you? Why was that?
You know why?
I think I do. But tell me anyway.
She only asked me after that man was found dead. After it was on the news. If she'd done it, killed him I mean, she'd have come straight away, not the next day.
You'd make a good detective, wouldn't you? But tell me, why was Auntie Esme so worried? Was it because she'd actually gone to Innocent House that night?
She didn't tell me much, but she said that man was alive when she left. Someone had rung and told him to go upstairs, and he told her he wouldn't be long, but he was so long she got tired of waiting and left.
Did she say anything else?
She said something I didn't understand.
Tell it as you remember it.
She said, I heard the voice, but the snake was outside the door. Why was the snake outside the door?
Anything else?
She said it was a funny time to borrow the vacuum cleaner.
I should have broken that alibi. It was a bad mistake.
Unfortunate, yes, but then Daisy's no ordinary child.
But if I hadn't believed her story so easily, Carling would still be alive.
Possibly. There's only one person responsible for Mrs. Carling's death, and it's not you. Where's the copy of the note we found on the railings?
Oh, it's through here.
Yes, I'll pass that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. PM reports in, sir. Death by vagal inhibition. She died as soon as the strap tightened around her neck before she went into the water.
This is interesting. Looks like a first draft. What interests me more is that neither of them mention Etienne's death. You think that's odd?
You don't buy it as a suicide note, then?
I think she was out for revenge, not suicide. We know she was at Innocent House on the night of Etienne's murder. Maybe she went there, took it with her and pinned it up somewhere. Obviously someone saw it and took it down.
If it was the night of Gerard Etienne's murder, the most obvious candidate is his killer. The murderer saw the note and realized Esme'd been there.
Maybe he killed Esme Carling too. He knew she might have seen him.
Yet she went to Innocent House willingly. Why would she do that? Go to her death like that?
In view of the tragic events of the last 24 hours, I think it would be best if we suspended discussion of Mrs. Carling's final manuscript for a week or two. I hope you're agreeable, yours, etc.
So we might publish after all.
Did you get that down correctly, Blackie?
Of course, Miss Etienne.
You all right, Mandy?
Yeah, I'm fine. I gave him a statement and signed it.
Good. If you're feeling a little fragile, you can always go home.
No, I'm fine.
Still here, then?
Yeah. Beginning to feel I've been sent to this investigation's equivalent in Siberia. Yeah, I know. Self-indulgent. What are you up to?
He wants me to check all the alibis again. He doesn't make snap judgments, you know.
I haven't exactly covered myself in glory, though, have I?
You're a good officer, Daniel.
Yeah, thanks.
Blackie, Commander Dalgleish would like to see all the partners in the boardroom in half an hour. He wants you to be there.
This is the note we found on the railings near Mrs. Carling's body last night. It's addressed to the partners. I think you all ought to read it, perhaps later.
What does it say?
She was obviously very angry when she wrote it about the way she imagined she'd been treated, especially by your brother. I believe that Mrs. Carling was here in Innocent House on the evening of Mr. Etienne's death.
Why?
To speak to your brother, have it out with him. Try and get him to change his mind and publish her book.
It sounds as if you've just found this out. Didn't you ask her where she'd been that night?
Yes, we did. And she provided a very good alibi. The neighbour's child said she'd been with Mrs. Carling between 6:30 and midnight.
So?
It's not true. She now admits that Mrs. Carling persuaded her to tell that story. Mrs. Carling had actually been here.
Why are you telling us all this? Do you think that Esme killed my brother?
Don't be so naive. What he's saying is that this child has told them everything she knows, so there's no point in any of us trying to trace her and silence her.
You don't think one of us killed Gerard?
And Esme Carling, most likely.
It's probable that Mrs. Carling has been murdered.
So you want to know where we all were in the early evening? Well, that's easy. I was with my fiancé, Francis was with James, and Gabriel was having a drink.
Yes, I know.
Where exactly did you go for this drink of yours, Gabriel?
The Dog and Duck.
Why on earth did you go there? It's horrible. You might have trouble finding someone who remembers seeing him there, Commander.
Claudia.
I didn't realize you were such a fan of glitzy theme pubs, Gabriel.
Please don't.
Is your alibi any more reliable?
Or yours, for that matter. I'm sure Francis would be willing to lie for you. It's quite a small sin.
Listen.
It's odd, isn't it? How terrible events begin with something small. If someone hadn't sent that fax cancelling Esme's signing, she might not have come back here that night. She might still be alive now.
Stop it! Stop it!
You sent it, didn't you, Blackie?
She was so horrible. Not just about me, but about Mr. Henry. How he thought I was a nuisance, and he didn't care for me. That's not true, though, is it, Miss Francis? He did care for me.
Blackie,
I did send that fax, but nothing more. You have to believe me.
Oh, James, leave her alone. We don't all need your shoulder to cry on. Some of us prefer to be alone in our misery.
Congratulations, Commander. It would have been kinder to have questioned Blackie in private, but that would have taken longer, wouldn't it? Might not have been so successful.
2 people have died, and it's my job to find out why. I'm afraid kindness can't be my first priority.
I'm sorry, Gabriel. I shouldn't have spoken to you like that.
I thought the past might help us here somehow, but it hasn't.
Well, you never know, sir. We still might find something.
No, let's cut our losses, move on, help Kate with the alibis.
Actually, I'm just about to go.
Go?
My brother's wedding, I mentioned it last week.
Oh, yes, of course. Now, where is it?
Synagogue in Alford.
Mazel tov, Haas and Carla.
I beg your pardon, sir?
Good luck to the bride and groom. It's a nerve-wracking occasion. Adam, may I have a word?
Of course.
The young man, you're Mr. Aaron. He's still trawling through the archive.
For the time being, yes.
Do you think you might find something relevant to your inquiry?
It seems increasingly unlikely, but you never know.
Is this policeman's hunch, Adam?
Behind every murder, there's a story. Perhaps here the story lies in the distant past.
I suppose a century and a half counts as the distant past.
I'm sorry? It's a prayer book?
Published in 1716, but it's not the book that's interesting, it's what I found inside it.
I, William Peveril, write this with my own hand on the 4th of September 1850 at Innocent House, in my last agony.
When you first came to Innocent House, I told you his story, a part of it anyway. He ran Peveril Press and built this house in 1831.
And his wife jumped from the roof.
She didn't. He threw her off, inherited her fortune. It allowed him to finish this place.
She saw my love of the house as an obsession and a sin. I have lived in Innocent House and killed for it. But since her death, the house has given me no joy.
All this beauty and grandeur. The Peveril legend was built on murder.
Damn it. Sophie Dauncey, 1920-1942. Martin and Ruth Dauncey, 1938-42. Killed at Auschwitz. Have you seen Commander Dalglish?
Sorry. He left with Mr. Dauncey some time ago.
What about Detective Inspector Miskin?
Oh, she went about an hour ago.
Great.
You'll have to come to Wapping Police Station to make a formal statement about this. Is there anything else you want to tell me?
No.
Are you sure?
Of course I'm bloody sure.
This is a murder investigation. You've already lied once. Perjury is one thing. Accessory to murder is quite another. I'd appreciate it if you could come to Wapping tomorrow. 9 sharp.
Cow.
The cell phone you are calling is switched off. Please try again later.
Claudia.
What was she doing here?
At last. Bet you're never late for your precious Commander DL.
Dalglish.
And your suit? You're not dressed. Where's your suit?
Dad, I'm in the middle of a murder investigation.
You'll be in the middle of another one when your mother sees you.
I can handle Mom, and I'm sure God won't mind me wearing a suit from Next rather than Mossbros.
Well, I know who I'd rather answer to. Anyway, what do you know about God? You haven't set foot in a synagogue from one year to the next.
Please, Dad, I let you live your life. Let me live mine.
She forced it out of me.
What, with thumbscrews? What did you tell her?
The truth. Just told her what happened.
No, you didn't. You admitted that you lied before, that I lied. You've just dumped us both very deeply in the shit.
Listen, I think it's best if we don't see each other for a while.
Something else has happened, has it?
Old Simon, he's changed as well. He's not selling. He's leaving the place to me.
Oh, great. So you don't need me anymore. Or rather, you don't need my money.
Come on, I mean, that's all you care about, too. When you phoned me that morning from the house with his body lying beside you, all you could talk about was the money you'd inherited and the alibi that you wanted me to give you.
You think I killed Gerard? You think I killed someone worth 10 of you just so that you could buy this pathetic heap of junk to convince yourself that you're a man and your life has meaning?
Francis, are you all right? We haven't talked since last night.
What is there to say? The commander thinks one of us killed Gerard and Esme. I've sat in my office for the last few hours thinking about that. Is it Claudia? Gabriel? You? You've probably begun to wonder whether it's me.
Don't be so upset.
We're all just waiting for something else to happen. I can't bear it anymore.
What are you going to do?
All my life I've waited. I've waited for my father to love me, waited for Gerard to love me. I've had enough of waiting.
And where are you going? Francis!
to speak to you.
It's just your brother's wedding.
It's important. Please. Please. Dad, I need your help.
Well, there's always a first time.
I know this isn't the time or the place, but it's important. You're the only one I can ask.
So? Painful memories. Should I know them? So what do you want to know?
The Jews in France, many of them died in the gas chambers, didn't they?
Well, fewer than in the old country, but enough. They were taken to a place on the outskirts of Paris called Drancy, and then on to the death camps by train.
And how much did the French cooperate?
Enough. The authorities, the Vichy government, the police, did the Nazis work for them?
Collaborators.
Many people were involved. Powerful people, respectable people. People with families of their own who lived happy and useful lives after the war. Even some who were supposed to be on our side. Daniel?
Sir, I've been checking alibis. Dauncey was in the pub that night, but Claudia Etienne's story, shot to pieces.
He was in no doubt?
He dropped her at Innocent House on the night of Gerard's death at about 10:30, and he didn't see her again that night. The next morning, she rang him and asked him to say they'd spent the night together.
Well, where's she now?
I don't know, sir.
Innocent House.
Hello?
James, it's Francis. Listen, are you doing anything?
No, nothing at all.
I wondered if you'd like to have dinner with me tonight.
Dinner? I should love that very much.
Me too. Listen, James, I think things could be different now. I'm not frightened anymore, James. I'll come straight over, okay? I've just got to pick up my car.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
somebody there. Gabriel. Oh, no, not you.
Do you see that, Rose?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Take care of the gun.
Sir.
What's going on? The old man Dauncey. I think it might be him. I found it in the archive room. There was a box with lots of prints, copies of letters to organisations all over Europe asking how his family ended up in Auschwitz. When I went to look for him, he almost ran me over. Oh, shit. I think I've lost him.
Francis, you do see why I couldn't let you go.
So it does come into it.
What?
The past.
The old man Etienne. He was in the resistance, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Sir, I've found Claudia Etienne in the underground car park. She's dead, sir.
How?
Gassed in her car.
That makes two of them. Just like Dauncey's children.
He's going to get Jean-Philippe. Kate, he's on his way to Athona House. Ring him and warn him. Get yourself down there.
Very good, sir. Let's go. There's no reply, sir, but we're on our way.
Okay, we're nearly there ourselves. Have you called for backup?
Yes, sir.
Good.
I thought you were my friend.
I am. You're the one happiness in my life.
You must have written those letters. You know how horrible mine was. How it said my father disliked me.
He told you the truth about a cold and rather unpleasant man.
He said I was going to die in the tunnel.
I forced you to confront your nightmares. My life has been blighted by my past. I wanted you free of yours.
What are you going to do now?
Gabriel? What is it? A crisis at Pleasure Press? Well?
I've waited for this moment.
There's his car, sir.
Go round the back.
What do you want?
Your daughter is dead. I killed her.
Commander! Thank God.
Are you all right?
It's Gabriel. He's in the house. I saw him kill Claudia.
Yes, I know. Look, go to our car over there. Lock the doors. You'll be safe.
You feel it, do you? Inspector. Daniel, isn't it? You found this in the archives room.
We know.
Look at their faces.
Who are these people?
In July 1942, in Aubière, near Clermont-Ferrand, in central France, you betrayed a Jewish woman and her 2 small children to the German authorities. They'd been hiding in a farmhouse belonging to an employee of yours. They were deported from France and executed in Auschwitz 2 months later.
What were their names?
They went under the names of Loire. In fact, their names are Sophie, Martin, and Ruth Dauncey.
Gabriel?
No, Adam, please. 2 minutes. You can spare me 2 minutes. I've been waiting 50 years to tell my story, and I want you to hear it, too. We've been living in Paris. But I was in London when the Nazis invaded. I couldn't get them out. Look at them. Look at the people you murdered.
I don't remember the names. How can I be expected to remember the names? I did what was necessary at the time.
How dare you?
Many French lives depended on me. It was important the Germans would trust me. That way I could get the information, the paper, and the ink I needed for the underground press. I don't remember these people.
I do.
Ah, so now you have come for your revenge.
Justice, not revenge. A son and a daughter for a son and a daughter.
Don't delude yourself, Gabriel. It's not justice which has driven you, but guilt. You left your family and they died. Why purge your guilt by killing the innocent? Well, now, this is your forte, isn't it? You bombed Dresden. Nothing I did can compare with the horror of that.
That was entirely different. The necessity of war.
For me also. Necessity of war.
Gabriel, let's go.
Wait. I have something to say. If you want to act like God, Gabriel, you must first ensure to have God's all-seeing knowledge.
What do you mean?
When I was 13, I caught a viral infection. As a result, I became totally infertile. When I married, my wife was very anxious to have children, and I obliged her. Gérard and Claudia were adopted. They were not related by blood to me, or indeed to each other. See what you have done?
Gabriel Dauncey, I'm arresting you for the murder of Gerard and Claudia Etienne and Esme Carling. You don't have to say anything. It may harm your defense if you do not mention when questioned something you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Daniel, take Mr. Dauncey out, will you?
Come on, sir.
Monsieur Etienne, can we do anything for you?
How was the wedding?
Wedding? Fine.
I found them unbearable. The poignancy of it. The young, so much hope, so rarely justified.
Yes.
Do you think about death, Daniel? I've thought of little else these last few years. I'm ready for my own. Indeed, I crave it. I'd so like it to be on my terms.
Go on. Go on.
Thank you. I think you're a good man.
Daniel? Where's Dauncey? Daniel, where's Dauncey?
For God's sake, just let him be.
Commander! He's gone to the chapel.
What?
He's gone to the chapel.
Take care, Miss Peverill.
Sir.
That's far enough, Adam.
Why this? Can't you face what you've done?
This is what I brought to the people of Germany all those years ago. It's fitting, don't you think?
You like symmetry, don't you? Is that why you gassed them? Gerard, Claudia, Etienne, and Esme Carling. Why did she have to die?
She was blackmailing me. She knew I was there the night Gerard died.
Why did you involve me?
I wanted a witness. Someone who'd understand. You're a man I've always admired, a poet as well as a policeman. Adam, I've never been able to make sense of my life. Now, I can't make sense of its ending.
Give it to me. Gabriel. Gabriel.
Adam, the nightly dream returns.
You let him go?
Yes, I let him go.
He didn't escape? Break free?
No. That man, Etienne, he couldn't even remember their names. He felt nothing. They didn't count. They're expendable. They were Jews.
And Esme Carling? Was she expendable? What right had he to decide that her life didn't count?
You're so certain, aren't you, Kate?
I'm certain about murder. How could I be a police officer if I weren't?
God, what now? What'll he do?
What do you think he'll do?
I've forgotten something.
We will, of course, require statements, but at a more appropriate time.
On second thoughts, I think you should have this.